So the next thing that we need to talk about is Jett's Knives. Jett's Knives are probably one of the best parts of her kit, and that's why you'll see they get nerfed pretty frequently. They get changed a lot because they're trying to tweak them into a position where they really like them. I think that this patch maybe is probably one of the best forms of Jett Knives, where they're very effective at when used correctly, but when you right-click with them now, you won't get them back. It used to be where you right-click players and you would get all of your knives back, and that could be really dangerous because then you run into situations where she's just kind of right-clicking everybody over and over, you know? But now in this position, you have to left-click targets in the head, or you won't get your knives back. I guess you can do it in the body as well, but left clicks only to get your knives back. These are very strong for eco rounds, particularly, or rounds where you're using an operator, or just rounds where you really need another weapon at the moment. What do I mean by all of these terms, basically? So eco rounds are really great because eco rounds are weapons where they're rounds where you don't have money to buy weapons, right? So if I don't have a Vandal and I can only really afford like pistols right now, I could buy a Sheriff or a Ghost, or I could use my knives, which are always going to be a one hit, and I'm always accurate on the move, right? This results in situations where you can make those aggressive plays like we talked about earlier, but you can actually do them even more aggressively than normal. And what do I mean by this? Well, drop my smoke, I can dash back sight, and now I can jump peek this instead. And the player who's playing back sight, if they have a rifle, even if Jett smokes this, they're probably not going to expect a jump peek, right? This is where I would pre-aim for a normal peek. This is probably where I pre-aim for like a jump peek, right? Somebody's going to jump across my screen. I probably want to be more positioned for them to do something like this than for them to just run across, right? This will catch players off guard because most agents aren't doing this. It's very like unfamiliar of how to deal with those situations, and that's why you'll run into situations where Jett's double updrafted with these knives, and she's so high in the air, she'll like pick off 2-3 targets sometimes, and your team won't be able to trade her out. The reason for this is because they're just not used to pre-aiming stuff like this, right? They're not used to flicking up on targets who are in the air. It's just not part of the game normally. So this is why Jett Knives are so helpful and that's like such a great tool. And this is a lot of times why you'll see professional players when they actually come to peek these angles, they'll jump peek them, right? Rather than just run peeking. Because like I said, this is where somebody's going to be aiming most of the time. If I'm playing on this side and I think somebody's going to peek long, I'm going to aim right here. But suddenly they're jump peeking. This is weird. Like I have to aim way up here now. So that's something that they're not used to. And you should utilize this, right? If somebody's going to be playing close and I'm going to jump peek this angle, they're not going to headshot me. They're not going to like one dink me. Those are the situations where you get one dinked and you're like, ah, man, like I wish I could have done something different. You're not going to get one dink doing this. I can almost promise you that. If you're jumping around a corner, they're going to hit you in the body. And you'll probably maybe take a little bit of damage, but at least we'll give you the chance to get the right click off and actually kill the target. So that's kind of how you're going to use the Jett Knives on ecos, especially. You'll buy it up, or if you don't have money to buy, you'll just use your Jett Knives, buy armor or something, and then you could hopefully get your team a pick or something. So there's somebody playing on long, and you can get them picked off, and then your team suddenly can grab this gun, and then maybe you get towards sight or something. You wanted to dash onto sight. You kill this guy on sight. That's another gun for your team, and this is how Jett will sort of snowball these rounds on eco rounds. There are other ways to use Jett Knives, though, and it's not just for eco rounds. So say, for example, you're using an operator, and I'm playing down and short or something, and I go for a peek right here, and maybe I do kill a target right here, but now they're close. They're, like, pushing up on us. They're going to try to kill me. I can pull out my knives, and I can, like, go for a peek if I really wanted to. If I want to play super aggressive, go for a peek or something, and then I can dash out, right? This is something that you can do with Jett Knives that you can't really do with any other character. If I'm opping on Astra, for example, and I come and take a peek right here, if I miss my shot or if I hit my shot, I'm not going to be able to like re-peek this very easily, right? Or if I'm getting pushed, maybe I just end up getting traded out. But as Jett, if you're getting pushed, suddenly you have knives, which is basically the equivalent of a rifle. If I hit a target in the head, I can take them out, and it's going to be really helpful. Another example of how to use the knives will be with a rifle, right? If I have a rifle right now and we turn off our infinite ammo, say I'm like fighting targets, taking some duels, you know, get down into a clutch situation, 2 targets left. Oh no, kill this guy, and now I have to reload. I can pull out my knives, and maybe if there's a player close, I can jump peek him and kill him, right? This is situations where you would probably want to use the knives when it's going to win you around, or it's like really necessary for you to use it. If you're in like a 1v5 and maybe you're getting pushed or something, you're trying to save a gun, I probably wouldn't recommend popping knives. That doesn't seem like the best decision. But if you're in like a 1v2 and you think you can win it, you just ran out of ammo, you killed one player, and now you're in a 1v1, popping the knives is totally reasonable. The other thing that we mentioned, as before, is they can be used in different ways, right? This gives you an advantage on your opponent because you can jump peek angles now. Just like when you would use a classic over like a frenzy, as we talked about in our pistol round video. Because now I can jump peek angles, it gives me different options. So as Jett with my knives, normally if I have a rifle, I'm not going to want to updraft. Like I can't shoot somebody. I can't peek like that. But if I have knives, this is a very reasonable thing to do. I can I can updraft and peek this angle, and that's going to throw somebody off. You don't want to come out here and updraft because they're going to like see you and shoot you, right? But if you updraft around the angle, right? So I'm going to peek this, come in like this. This can be a very reasonable thing for you to do, and it will definitely throw players off. This is why a lot of the times in 1v1s you'll see Jetts will pop their knives. It's because it'll give you an upper hand on your opponent, and this will make peeking angles a lot safer. Because when I peek an angle, I'm not going to get headshot right away, as we talked about earlier. So hopefully this gives you some insight on how you would use the knives to your advantage. Generally, I wouldn't recommend like greeting and trying to keep your knives if you get in a situation where you need to right-click somebody. Let's say, for example, I like smoke something and I like dash into sight or something, and now I jump peek this. If there's a guy playing like right here, I wouldn't try to left click him and just hoping that you're going to kill him, right? Instead, what I would do is I would go for the right click and just sacrifice the fact that you had your knives. Like, okay, we don't have knives anymore. Generally, we're in a custom game right now, so it doesn't matter. But if you use your knives to right click just to get a kill, securing that one kill, remember, is like great. You don't need to get more than that. So there's nothing really wrong with that. But hopefully this gives you an idea of how you could use your knives as Jett. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.